The iron neck. Apparently, it's the cream of the crop when it comes to neck training. But is it really all that? Curious, I purchased one of these devices and trained with it 5 days a week for 6 weeks. Did I build a thicker, stronger neck? Did I run into any issues? How was it being that guy at the gym? This is what happened, but you gotta focus. Perfect fit in there. So I went all the way and purchased the Iron Neck 3.0 Pro with an additional strength kit that included some additional resistance bands and this bag. Now the Iron Neck itself was actually bigger than I thought, but the concept was quite simple. Essentially, it's this big ring that you can wear on the top of your head with this free-floating device that you attach to some kind of resistance that can move freely around the head so that resistance can be applied from all angles. Cool. Oh, this pumps up the back. Comes with adjustable pieces to fit your head, and I need to use the smallest one, I think. However, the smallest one's a little loose, but there's a little pump on the side right here that pumps up the back piece. Yeah, it's tight now.
Movements to master with Iron Neck are the 360 spin and the look left, look right.
So after figuring out the basics of the device, I scanned the QR code on the box and it took me to the Iron Neck website with some beginning Iron Neck exercises. So I wanted to try this out using some of the attachments the Iron Neck came with, starting with this door jam attachment, where you just pinch it in the door and then hook up the resistance band to the latch. Now this was kind of sketchy, probably because my door was a little flimsy, but praying that it would hold, I gave it a try. Oh gosh, hopefully that doesn't fly out of there. Gosh, if that thing flies out of the door. So I started with one of the foundational movements according to the Iron Neck website, the 360 spin. Keeping the resistance band at a perpendicular height, I tucked my chin in and maintained a straight posture while doing 3 controlled spins clockwise and then 3 controlled spins counterclockwise. Is that gonna come out? Gosh. Still paranoid about that door jam attachment coming out and whipping me in the face, I decided to try another attachment, one that came with the Iron Neck that wraps completely around the door. This one gave me a little bit more confidence that nothing would go wrong, so I continued doing the 360 spins, going a little bit further out, applying more resistance, and at this point, I was really starting to feel it. Now, I am no stranger to neck exercises, however, this felt a little awkward. That full 360 range of motion all the way around the neck, I was noticing there were a few weak spots. While it felt like my sternocleidomastoid from the front was very strong, when feeling the resistance on the back side angle, it felt like there was just a very weak point on each side. Not wanting to pull that weak muscle and get a neck injury on day one, I chose to stand at a distance where the resistance was manageable from the full 360 range of motion, which was a little underpowering for my big neck muscles, but for those weak spots was very challenging. Moving my training session to the basement and using this wraparound attachment to my power rack that I felt like was the most secure so far, I did a total of 5 sets of 5 rotations one way and 5 rotations the other way, and not wanting to overdo this on the first day, I decided to call this a session. And now I really didn't even go up that high or step back that far yet, and I only did like 5 sets total, but the last thing on earth you want to do is overdo neck training, so I actually think for now I'm going to see how this sets in and see how I feel tomorrow. But yeah, so far, interesting. We'll see what happens and try to push it a little more. All right. My neck actually ended up being sore. However, it was only really sore in those weak feeling areas, specifically on the posterior lateral plane of the neck or the back side of the neck, like a 45-degree angle. So in an effort to bring these weak spots up to better match the rest of the neck strength, I continued with the basic 360 exercise for the next couple of days. Now, of course, my desire to add some greater resistance to those bigger neck muscles to hopefully get that thick neck look kicked in. So I also added another basic exercise that I found on the Iron Neck website, simple head head turns. This seemed to target more of the bigger muscles in the neck that I was already decently strong with from various neck training in the past, such as doing head turns with a resistance band. Now, unlike the resistance band, the tension from the iron neck felt more consistent, probably because the resistance band on the iron neck stays pretty much in the same spot as that piece moves around the ring. Now, there was something about having a carabiner attached around a pole with tension at eye level was still making me nervous.
Something about just this, like this just freaks me out. Out of curiosity, what would theoretically happen? Let's pretend like this breaks right here. Boom! Right to the teeth.
Now, seeing the build quality of the resistance bands that the iron neck came with the carabiners on both sides, I mean, they seem pretty heavy duty. I don't think they would break. It was more of a mental thing. But anyways, that is why I decided to switch to a resistance band laced through itself with a carabiner only on the side of the iron neck. Now, for the first 2 weeks, I just stuck with these basic movements, trying to focus on bringing up those weak spots of my neck. And by day 10, lo and behold, those weak spots felt like they vanished. Okay, for real, those weak spots that I felt like were on my back side of the neck, I feel like are totally gone right now. Like, I'm not feeling any overwhelming tension right there. Everything feels a lot more even right now. Let's just put it that way. This could have been a saving grace that I needed that I didn't know I needed, because, like, you know, the neck, I mean, it's so variable, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be super strong from the front right here, but then all of a sudden, if I'm just like hit from the side back by who knows what means, I'm done or something like that. I go down or I pull that neck muscle, or even worse, like a spinal thing or something like that. But with that being said, when it does come to the other areas of my neck, at least so far in this experiment, like my big muscles, I do feel a little bit underwhelmed. But now that I have everything evened out, I'm going to look up some new neck exercises from Iron Neck and just what else I can find out on the internet. Try to apply those and try to stand out even further, get some more resistance, and hopefully get that bigger, thicker, stronger neck, as well as a more balanced neck. Let's step it up a notch and see what happens. Time to get thick. Adding in 2 new major movements from the 6 foundational movements of Iron Neck training according to the Iron Neck website and YouTube channel. Protraction and retraction from the front and back, as well as figure 8s from the front and back. The figure 8s appeared like they might be a little sketchy. However, when performing these, I actually felt great tension on those bigger neck muscles that I wanted to target for hopefully a thicker, stronger looking neck. Additionally, I added in a new training angle for the head turns, or the look left, look rights, hitting it from the side.
I feel like I'm getting actually some like girth like this way.
Now, as the volume and intensity stepped up, doing the Iron Neck training before or after workouts was becoming inconvenient. So I started to implement the Iron Neck training during my workouts, taking this thing to the gym. I also started to push it more, standing further away, allowing the resistance band to apply more tension, increasing the difficulty.
It's red.
Yeah.
I also continued to try out new exercises, such as these locked neck body turns, where you're not supposed to turn your head, you're just supposed to turn your body, getting dynamic tension on the neck to hopefully create adaptations for unpredictable athletic situations.
So I feel like I'm not even getting any more neck soreness anywhere anymore. Like I'm wondering, like, is it still working? Am I still challenging myself?
So I tried to get even more aggressive, standing out even further, really trying to feel the tension, and throwing in even more new exercises. I felt like I was starting to push the resistance band to its limits, but in doing so, I was noticing some thick neck pump looking results.
It's getting serious.
And then in the midst of increasing my volume, intensity, and adding in even more new neck exercises, it happened. Just kidding. Thankfully, nothing catastrophic happened, but still, I ended up overdoing it, and I ended up with that next level of muscle soreness that you don't necessarily want to get.
Just kidding, but not kidding, kind of. I've recently been trying to really up the volume and intensity of Iron Neck training because I'm trying to get those results. But I think I went a little bit too much about 3 days ago. It was just like afterwards, I really started to feel like just like a tightness, getting sore. But thankfully it didn't feel to that level of being like a concerning soreness. It was still just more of like a muscle soreness. But I'm wondering maybe if like the resistance band, I don't know, it's like as good as it is, you know, sometimes when I move it's like kind of bobbing me like this, and maybe it kind of like tweaked that muscle right there that was weak or something. So yeah, it's a good reminder for me to be careful. I'm glad nothing catastrophic happened. Got a little over a week left. We'll see what happens.
So in the next workout, I went to try something more consistent in resistance than the resistance band, hooking the iron neck directly up to the cable machine.
Interesting. So obviously with the resistance band, the further I go out, the tighter it gets, and that means it's applying more tension, more resistance, the further I stand away from whatever the resistance band's attached to. Cable machine, on the other hand, with just a standard weight stack, it's always gonna be pretty much the same tension, the same resistance, regardless of how far out or in I go. Totally different feel. Totally different feel. Wow, I actually kind of like this a lot more. It's like, it's predictable. Why haven't I been doing this since the beginning? We're doing this now, so we'll see what we can do here.
So using the iron neck attached to the cable machine for that consistent resistance, I worked on the basic protraction, look right, look lefts from the sides and the back, and then 360 spins. It was a totally different feel because if you did step back towards the cable machine, you wouldn't lose any resistance like you would with the resistance band until the weights were restacked.
Yeah. The head though.
So for the first week of this experiment, I started out with lower intensity just to be safe. But once I built my confidence, I had brought the intensity up to a moderate level 5 days a week. However, this was all by feel. I didn't really have anything structured yet. So I came up with a regimen. The plan I came up with was higher volume, higher intensity on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Now in between those days, on Wednesday and Friday, I did an active recovery neck day, doing a moderate amount of volume, but at a much lower intensity. On the 3 higher volume, higher intensity days, I still warmed up with 360 spins and whatever I felt like I needed, but for my main movements, I chose more tasking exercises like head turns from all angles, look left, look right with heavier resistance, figure eights, fixed head turns, and heavier protraction and retraction. On the 2 moderate volume, lower intensity days, I essentially greased the groove whatever I felt like I needed. That just means I chose any exercise I wanted to do, but I kept the volume lower and the intensity lower as well. Typically, these active recovery sessions were about 5 minutes, as opposed to the higher volume, higher intensity days, where the entire neck portion of the workout was about 10 minutes.
Excuse me. I'm just wondering what you're doing later. No, okay. Oh yeah. Picking up chicks.
Coming to the final day of this experiment feeling much more confident training neck with this device. So did I make some serious neck gains? What did I learn from this experience? Were there any critiques of this piece of equipment that I had? And will I continue training with this going forward? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in just a few seconds, we'll take a look at the results.
Say, I wonder what Kevin's up to. Let's go find out. Oh, Kevin! Kevin! Ew. Kevin! What the absolute frick is your absolute problem? Kevin, what are you doing? Oh, you knocked my tooth out! Excuse me, Kevin, but we did not knock out your tooth. Your own malicious behaviors did. What is the matter with you? You're so freaking weird. Get out of my room! Kevin! My Isabella, he never learns.
The iron neck, 6 weeks, 30 days. Did I make any gains? Let's take a look. In my opinion, it looks like I put on some neck size. From the front, but especially from the side and the back. Like, it just seems like it's thicker this way. Now, when I did take the circumference measurements, for some reason it looks like it's close to the same, if not exactly the same. But I mean, does it not look thicker? Like, it just looks thicker. What do you guys think? Let me know. Okay, so now I want to actually talk about what I liked about this, what I didn't like about this, and a few other things. First of all, what I liked about this thing. I talked about it in the beginning of the video, but the ability to add this dynamic tension in this full 360 range of motion from any angle on the neck. In my opinion, I think that is a very beneficial thing to be able to do for
various scenarios, athletic scenarios, etc. Because like I mentioned earlier, think about it. You know, are you always just gonna be strong from the side, front, or back? What about those angles in between? So for that, I do have to give this thing a thumbs up, and for that reason alone is going to be the reason why I am going to continue to use this thing. Now, I did appreciate the adjustable padding, this one that can come out and go in, as well as the pump to make it tight, but I'm wondering why they didn't put maybe more padding on the side right here, because sometimes when I was on like the side of the head, I would get a lot of pressure like right here and right here, but like this is empty, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they tried that, maybe it didn't work. I'm just thinking as I'm thinking right here. Now, another ability that the 3.0 Pro has is this adjustable moving piece right here. You can actually adjust the tension on it all the way loose to where it moves like this, or you can tighten it up to give it some more tension to add some resistance to it when you're doing various exercises with this thing. I've got to be honest, I tried it out a little bit and I actually didn't like it that much. So going into my critiques, one of my critiques that I have with this thing, the piece that attaches to the resistance that travels around the iron neck, listen. It's kind of like plasticky sounding. Now don't get me wrong, this seems like a very heavy duty plastic. I don't think it's gonna like break or like pull out of this thing or anything like that. Where I'm going with this is the price of this thing. Now, when I bought it, for some reason I got it for $399, which is still $400, which is still pricey. But right now I checked on their website, and for the 3.0 Pro, I'm seeing $499. So $500 for this. And I guess what I'm saying is, like, for $500, even if it is very high quality plastic, just the fact that it is plastic and it moves around plastically like this, I don't know, maybe it would be more appropriate to have that price point if this was like driven on bearings or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? But who am I to say? What do I know? I don't know the market for these parts, for this equipment. Overall, I do still think it's a quality piece of equipment, even with the plastic on plastic, because like I said, it is still very heavy duty. But I mean, for the price point, it does seem pricey. That's my biggest critique. So yeah, you know, maybe I could have saved some money getting the one without this adjustable dial right here. I think that might be like $100 less. So might be something to consider. Now, speaking of using this while working out, I used this resistance band with the 2 carabiners in the beginning of this experiment. Then I used a classical resistance band, and then I moved over to the cable machine. They all kind of actually had different feels. In my opinion, this actually did feel really good. I was just paranoid about these things flying off, which I don't think would happen looking at the build quality of these things, but you never know, you never know. But what I did find out trying to push the heavier like tension on the resistance was it kind of got a little jumpy and kind of got a little sketchy at sometimes because of that variable tension that changes when you step out further or going closer. But I do think the resistance band had a very like almost therapeutic effect, at least for me. Like from those weak spots, it felt like maybe a little bit of that dynamic tension but at a lighter level was very beneficial to me. But when I started to step back further, things started to get a little sketchy, and what I found out worked better for me, at least, was attaching this to a cable machine where the resistance would be constant once I stepped back and out. So for me going forward, I am going to continue using this thing because all in all, I actually really do like this thing, all right? I do. And I will probably use a combination of the resistance band and the cable machine for going a little bit heavier. Still keep in mind, when I say heavier, I don't mean racking the machine. I'm still being very cautious and going slow and not pushing anything over the limit. Also, real quick, something you're probably wondering, did anybody in the gym say anything? Was I getting any weird looks? I did only take this thing to the gym a few times, and to be honest, every time I was there, I didn't notice anyone looking at me, and I was doing 360 spins looking all around the place. So yeah, I didn't see anyone looking at me. Hey, maybe they were when I wasn't facing them. Maybe they were filming me with their phone. I don't think so. I gotta be honest, I just don't think anybody really cares. Also, just wanna let you know this is an unsolicited video. They did not send this to me. I purchased this with my own money, but I might try to sign up for their affiliate program. And if I do, I will leave my affiliate link in the description. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, I have more videos coming out. I hope you all have a great day. Peace. I will see you all in the next video.